Tommy and Tina. We're on IAQ broadcast right here at Attorney King Studios. And my guest, or our guest today, is Janet Hook, an amazing woman from Phoenix, Arizona. She is the 2020 Miss Infinity International award winner, I guess I would say. She's also the president and CEO of Vintage Vixens of Arizona. She was disabled in a car accident, a tragic accident about 5-6 years ago, and you overcome that and become quite an accomplishment. I mean, I find you very inspiring, and that's why we wanted you on the show today.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're absolutely excited to have you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, about 5 years ago, I was actually already disabled. I have quite a few complex medical things going on, but about 5 years ago, I was in the process of moving and minding my own business and driving down the road, and a drunk driver crossed the center line of the highway, and I had my 2 children in the car with me, and I hit him head on at 65 miles an hour, and probably one of the most life-changing things in many, many ways that could have ever happened to me, for better and for worse. And a lot of, it taught me a lot of things in that moment. And it's, a lot of people don't understand it when I say it, but it's something I'm grateful for. And
one thing I think we can say is we've all been through these personal tragedies, and we, as bad as they are and what we went through, many of us find that we are happier and better off afterwards because we've made that life-changing decision in our lives, which have allowed us to adapt and overcome the situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, it was something that it gave me the opportunity to learn so much that most people take for granted every single day. And if I could go back and change anything about that day, I wouldn't. I absolutely wouldn't. Not about the decisions I've made, not about anything moving forward from that. I wouldn't.
No, I hear that. And your title, if I remember you telling me right, you're the first one who was won in a wheelchair?
I don't know if I'm the first person to win my title that's wheelchair bound, but I know currently in my division, as far as I'm aware, I was the only disabled competitor in my division, and I was the only one in a wheelchair, and I won my state title. Yeah.
That is amazing. And I have to say, for people out there, check out Janet on Facebook, and I'm sure you'll give us your website here too, but you do amazing modeling.
Yeah.
And anybody with a disability would look at you and say, if Janet can do that, I can do that too.
Well, that was really my goal. That was what I set out to do. I was a model before this. I modeled off and on since I was 10 years old. And I love what I do. It's not something I do, it's a part of who I am. And one of the biggest fears I struggled in overcoming in my recovery, because, I had some really grave injuries, obviously, in that car accident. I caught the engine block and the dashboard in my lap. I was pinned in the car. I had to be extracted on a board. It crushed one of my legs, which is obviously why now I'm, dealing with that down the road 5 years later. August 3rd will be 5 years. And, there were a lot of questions that arose in my mind of, am I going to lose everything that I had worked so hard for, and everything that I wanted to do with myself, and all of these things that meant so much to me. And there came a point where I was like, if I lose it, it's because I choose to lose it. I don't have to lose anything. It just simply means a redefinition of who I am.
Yes.
And this could be a teaching moment, and that's what I chose to make it. So now I, as often as possible, make a point of modeling in my chair so that people know that people with disabilities are not invisible. We're here, we're a part of, the greater society, because so often we are marginalized.
Yes.
We're invisible to people. And I want people to realize that broken is still beautiful, whether that's physically broken, whether that's people that struggle with emotional disabilities, PTSD, mental illness issues, whatever that is. It doesn't mean that, you're disposable. And I've really had to struggle to get people to understand that broken is not disposable. It means maybe we redefine some things, and that's
Right.
fine, but it doesn't mean you give up.
No, absolutely. And the one thing that I found myself is that I don't want sympathy from people.
No.
I just want acceptance. And
Yeah.
one of the things that kept me quiet for years is I didn't want the sympathy.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
I can do it. I'm just as good as anybody else, just in my own way.
Yeah. And I mean, I travel a lot. Well, COVID has stopped me from traveling currently, but I normally will travel. I have an assistant that travels with me for my safety, but I probably travel more now than I did when I had two working legs, and and I do more now than I think I did as a quote unquote normal person.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's something that I really feel is important, that people know that your life's not over. I've
Right.
coached so many guys, especially veterans, who, they go and they lose a leg, or they go and they have their back crushed, and they end up in a really bad place. And I'm like, this is a choice. This is a choice. And okay, you can make that choice.
I do have
Or
a question for you, though. Did
Mhm.
you have an aha moment where you recall that you decided to move forward despite everything that happened?
an aha moment. I don't know that I had one specific aha moment. I think for me, I've always been one of those people that just, you weren't going to tell me what to do. I mean, I'm just a nonconformist. I don't well, what do you mean I can't do that? Why can't I do that?
You can.
Like, why? I don't understand. I
Right.
don't understand what you're saying to me right now. Like, and I've always been that person. And okay, you can tell me I can't do that, but I'm going to try it at least once.
Right.
And if I fall on my face, that's fine. But I just hope nobody saw it.
What's that
Right?
saying?
Like,
that you told me?
that's
Which one?
kind of me. And I won't tell you. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm Wonder Woman, because I'm really not. Yeah, there's hard days. Yeah, there's days when I'm like, why me? There's not a day of my life that I don't live in pain. There's not a day in my life when it is not hard. But I have 4 sons.
Mhm.
Wow. They keep you going, don't they?
They're watching me.
You're setting the example for them to follow.
Absolutely.
They're watching. They range in age from 19 to 9. And they're watching their mom every single day, and every single photo, every single video, every single interview, every single time they hear my voice and they see my face. That is my legacy to them, because at some point I won't be with them anymore, and they have to know, and they have to remember. And if that is the greatest legacy I can leave them, then I've done my job. And they know that they can overcome, and they can do anything they set their mind to. Human potential is an incredible thing. I mean, we got to the moon, and we created the atom bomb, and we invented penicillin, and we did all of these things. And you're limited by your own ability to see past the I can't, and the pity party, and the I don't want to's, and I don't feel goods today, and I'm not getting ups. And okay, well, that's a choice. You can do that. And trust me, there's days I do that. I'm not gonna say I don't.
That's okay. I mean, I think
Yeah, there's
everyone
days
has those
and
moments.
that's okay. Mental health days are a thing, y'all. I have them.
Well,
So do I.
we actually had this discussion earlier today,
Yeah.
and I said that in the creative process, when I'm writing a book or in a screenplay, there's sometimes I just say, what is this worth it? I got too much going on in my life,
Yeah,
and I have to step away. But I've gotten to the point where I'm only 15, 20 minutes. I refocus and I come back because I know that's what I want to do.
right. Yeah.
And I can't sit and feel sorry for myself.
Mhm.
My aha moment was an epiphany at one point where I decided that I can just do nothing and have everybody wait on me and collect disability, or I can go forward and really make a difference in the world. And
Yeah.
that's what I chose.
Right. Right.
I think we all have the same mindset, and it's important for people to realize that they're only limited by their own limitations that they put on themselves. Doesn't
Right.
matter if it's physical or whatever,
Right.
you can overcome anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's for me, it is one of those things where, I'm disabled and I don't go to a normal job every day and I don't do those things. But the greatest silver lining in that is that I've been able to devote my life to charity work. And so I spend my time
Mhm.
doing that and helping others, and which was where the Vintage Vixens came from, and devoting my time to all of these really important philanthropy projects and all of these things. It's like, okay, well, I may not be able to, go back to the medical profession because I was in medicine. I had a career in transfusion medicine. And it's like, well, can't do 80 hours on my feet anymore doing that. So, well, what can I do? It doesn't mean that I have to lay here and waste away and wait to die. It means that we just have to redefine some boundaries. And I'm always cognizant of the fact that there's my children watching me. There's always somebody that, you never know whose life you can touch. I had this amazing experience about a year ago. I went to Vegas for my birthday, and I was in the spa getting my work done because every time I go anywhere on vacation, I have to go to the spa. Like, that's a thing. And I was getting my face work done, and I was having a charming conversation with the esthetician that was doing my face. And I don't know her, and she doesn't know me. I was just telling her my story. Like, we were chatting. I think I was down there for a couple hours. And the most amazing thing happened. It was hysterical at the time, but it was awesome. And I get back up to my room, and my husband calls me on the phone. And he's like, someone just sent flowers to our house. I was like, what do you mean somebody just sent flowers to our house? You really? That's a joke, right? And he's like, no. And I walked out and I talked to my travel companion, who's also my photographer. And I was like, did you send flowers to my house? Like, and he looked at me, he's like, I'm here with you. Why would I do that? I just hand them to you. It's like, and at the time, we couldn't find a card in the box. We had no idea. He's like, what are you doing in Vegas? And I was like,
I was going to say the same thing.
no, what you're thinking. Like, he's like, what is going on? And we're trying to figure this out. It took us a good 10 minutes. And then finally, we found the card that had slipped down inside the box. And the esthetician had sent flowers to my house. I was still up in the hotel. And she had sent them to my house, and the card was lovely. I still have it. It's over on my mirror. And apparently, I have no idea what I said to her that was so life-changing, because I just was myself and told her about me, and she told me about her, and she sent flowers to my house. I still keep it to this day because I look at that card every single day. And she's like, you're an amazing human being. And I was like, what did I do? I don't even know.
I read you. Oh, go ahead.
It was incredible. Like, here's my husband thinking I'm doing something shady up in Vegas. And I was like, no, that's the esthetician that was just working on my face. Yeah. awesome. It was the most incredible thing. I had to call down and thank her. And I was like, well, okay, that's a new one for the books. But yeah, that actually happened. So, I mean, you never know whose life you're going to impact, like just by being yourself and,
No, that's very true. In fact, this morning I was doing an interview, and it was live. Um,
Mhm.
and a gentleman, a Vietnam vet in Washington State, uh, went on and made a comment and thanked me and said, "I'm going to get out my typewriter today and start writing." So
Wow.
I made an effect on one person that I know of today, and
Yeah.
that is very empowering.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and it's a means of paying it forward, and it doesn't cost you. It's not like it costs you anything. I
No.
mean, and to me, like that felt amazing. I was like, that's the best birthday gift ever. Like, I don't know what I said, have no idea, but she obviously felt good about it, and that's like the greatest feeling. So, and that's kind of, it led me into coaching. Coaching was something that I didn't really know I was doing for a very long time. It's just a part of something that I do. Um, it comes naturally to me, which I guess goes back to the adage: if you do what you love, you'll never work another day in your life.
Absolutely.
And it's really, it's not a job for me; it's my passion. And so I work in all manner of trauma, which is mostly veterans.
Mhm.
And I love my vets. I love them. A great many of them have become like family. But it's also first responders. It's also domestic violence victims and sexual assault survivors and childhood trauma victims. And I mean, I've got one war refugee. I've got, it runs the gamut, and it's so vast that I didn't really realize it until I really started working with it. And I realized, like, that's the gateway drug, right? That's the gateway drug. People are like, they can debate that, but really, a lot of people that I have seen, in my opinion, start using drugs and alcohol because they're medicating something, and it usually starts there. They've been through something that they can't really face and they can't really deal with, so they have to make it go away somehow. And if
Absolutely.
you can get through that something and make them believe that one person in the world truly cares about them and isn't going to judge them for sharing that, then you've just made the mile. You've done it right there. And everything else is the downhill slide.
Janet, you have such an incredible story. I love the fact that you're doing coaching, especially with veterans.
Yeah.
How do people get in touch with you to find out more information about your coaching?
All of my contact information is on the Holistic Therapies directory. So if you go and put my name in on the Holistic Therapies directory, so holistictherapiesdirectory.com, and then just type my name in, I will come up. There's only one of me. I'm the only one in my town that is a coach, and certainly there are not many people that do what I do.
Okay.
I'm pretty unique. So I'm easy to find. And I'm always available. I take crisis calls. So, I've had many veterans call me drunk in the middle of the night, and it's like, okay, Janet's getting out of bed now, and we're going to have a little conversation about what's going on.
God bless you.
Hey,
Absolutely.
you know what? I'm just doing the right thing. And I tell people that all the time. My father was a Vietnam veteran, and unfortunately I buried him 10 years ago. And
Sorry for your
Sorry.
loss.
I know that somewhere he's watching me, and he's proud. And
Very much so.
if someone had been there, my dad wouldn't have drank himself to death, and I wouldn't have buried him. And there's not anything I can do about that, but there's something that I can do for someone's son, someone's brother, someone's father, someone's husband. And if I can change that, then I've done my job. because someone wasn't there for my dad. And that's unfortunate, but moving forward from that, there's a difference to be made.
Mhm.
So that's what I focus on. And so because I can relate to them, you know, in terms of, hey, you know what, I didn't catch an IED, I caught a drunk driver, but I feel you and I understand.
Right.
And it's not fair and I get it. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty effective. I hope,
Yes.
you know.
Is there a way that our listeners could find out more about your vintage vixens?
The Vintage Vixens page is on Facebook. You can search them. They're there. It's been there for about 10 years now. Like I said, we're pretty quiet right now, just because, you know, I've had 2 hip surgeries. I'm about to have a third the first week of August. So, of course, COVID has ruined my social calendar. But you know, it is what it is. So, and that was really just my public appearance sort of fundraising arm. Most of the real work in terms of like the coaching and really sitting down and talking to people that I really did when I was out in the public was me. That was all me. Everything else was sort of fun, and that was, you know, and hopefully I'll get back to doing that again soon.
All right. So, Janet, we have a lot of people out there that are going to be very interested in your coaching website, and would like to see where to get a hold of you.
Okay.
How can they find you online?
Okay. I am listed on the Holistic Therapies directory. It is holistictherapiesdirectory.com. And if you go and just search my name, I'm the only one there. I'm the only one in my town. I'm the only one that does what I do. So I'm pretty easy to find. I'm also on Facebook under my name. I do a lot through my Facebook and my Instagram. So you can just DM me if you don't find me there. Not difficult to find at all.
Perfect. And how about Vintage Vixens?
The Vintage Vixens are on Facebook, and it's Vintage Vixens of Arizona. They've been around about 10 years now. So yeah, just search them on Facebook. It's been pretty quiet, but yeah, we're there.
And fortunately, with COVID, we all have been. But
Yeah.
I want to thank you so much for being on the show with us today, Janet.
No problem. I'm happy to do it.
Your story is so inspiring, and your courage and stamina and the way you look at life and help people is so commendable. And I want to thank you for inspiring me also.
Oh, well, that means a lot to me.
And once again, we're so lucky to have Janet Hook on here from Phoenix, Arizona. Once again, what was your title again that you had won?
I am Miss Infinity Arizona 2020. So stay tuned, because next is Nationals for Miss Infinity America. And then after that is like the global competition. So there's an international competition after that. So
Well, we know a bunch of people in San Diego are going to be pulling for you. So
well, that means a lot, actually.
So we really thank you for being here, and that's our interview for today with Janet Hook. It's Tommy and Tina here at the Take It Back show on IQ Podcast at Attorney King Studio. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
You guys.